RingGangRadio.com. Take over. Last mission. Final boss mode.
Yeah, what's good, yo? Welcome to another episode of Real Talk, where, as always, if shit's real, we talk about it. I'm your host for this afternoon, Pat Scorpio, the New England representative. As always, I got my man with me. I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
Yo, what it do, guys? It's Shuttleworth, aka LB, the upset guy. You know, Lauderdale boss. RingGangRadio.com in the building. Uppercut season on deck. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. Ringing in the house forever and always. As always, it's always uppercut season, man. Uppercut season never dies. Just remember that. And also got my other man with me. I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
Hey, yo, what's good? You already know who this is. Your boy King P, Bodega Boxing in the building. You know what I'm saying? Ring Gang Radio, what up? We ready? I'm here. I got my candy. I'm all boosted up. I got my can of Orange Crush. And we gonna be sipping on some can, and we gonna be talking about beating up cans. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, as Neil put a disclaimer here that the candy that P's talking about is actual candy, not illegal candy. If you get my drift, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, legit candy.
He says, "Don't rejoice." He'd be like, "Oh, I knew one of those niggas was on something." Nah. No, this Ring Gang Radio, not crackhead radio.
Yeah, you know, P's just high on life and sweets and sucrose and God knows what else.
I'm knocking on this can like call me Wood the way I'm knocking on this can right now.
Hey, bars. And I didn't have to say pause either. Yes, sir. No, but you know, I was playing. You know, P's amped up. He's ready to go in. You know, because he's been relaxed. You know, he didn't have to fight. He doesn't have to fight crime lately. You know, niggas are behaving in them New York streets and whatever. So it's all good, man. So yeah, he's definitely ready. And last but certainly not least, I got my other man with me. I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
Hey, what's fly? It's your boy Conscious Pilot, aka the West Coast Avenger, number one contender, preparing for liftoff on the Sunday. This is Ring Radio. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. Conscious Pilot, man. My man stay, you know, he rises above the clouds always, man. Stays elevated, you dig? So yeah, you know, we got some stuff to talk about. You know, I know, you know, before it's been a mostly quiet week of boxing because we're entering, you know, after weeks of, you know, flat out outstanding cards and fights like that. You know, we're hitting the midpoint. You know, the mid. You know, emphasize on the word mid. You know, for boxing. You know, but no, there were some diamonds though. You know, some diamonds in the rough that did emerge from yesterday's cards. And of course, we're gonna start off with our segment "Tale of Two Upsets." The first upset, you know, was on Eddie's Mandingo series. Now, that's what I call Fight Camp. You know, as if you heard me refer to that before, is if you ever watched that movie Mandingo or even watched Django Unchained, you can kind of get my drift on why I refer to it as that.
And if you a boxing fan, Mandingo's a must watch because it stars the great Ken Norton.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so it all ties back into boxing, man. Everything ties back into boxing. You know, that because boxing is, you know, is everlasting. It's eternal, man. It's a common denominator for anything. So yeah, you know, Eddie's card, and you know, originally we were all, you know, excited to go see Conor Benn versus Adrian Granados, but unfortunately, days before that, Conor Benn came down with Corona, which was very unfortunate. And obviously, there was no replacement appointment for Granados, or actually, you know, they couldn't really put Granados, although, you know, he's known, you couldn't really put him in the main event with just anybody. Since he wasn't like the quote-unquote A side. So that fight is now postponed to another later card. So
I'm gonna do the PBC shuffle.
Yeah, the PBC shuffle.
They remixed the fuck out of them matchups.
Yeah, hell yeah. So now, the co-main, however, for that card got pushed up, which you got Zhu Shan, you know, people call it Zhu Can Zhu, Shan Zhu, you know.
Cannot.
But one thing that he's not, and I don't really like the nickname for him, is Monster. Now, I get why they want to call him that, but...
He ain't no fucking monster.
Like, there's already an established monster, and he's a pound-for-pound fighter, puncher, boxer, whatever you want to call him. He's up there.
Exactly. You know how we are about them people sharing the same nickname. Well, this is even worse when they're both still active. Like Ricky Hitman Hatton and Tommy Hitman Hearns, and like, at least one was retired when the other one was doing his thing.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Jorge Golden Boy Linares or Oscar Golden Boy De La Hoya.
Like cut this shit. Like, get a fucking better name. Like, I don't want to hear no Antonio Magic Man Tarver, Paulie Malignaggi, the Magic Man. Like, no. Better name.
Exactly, and so Zhu Shan, though, and obviously, I mean, he is a top featherweight. I mean, Zhu, he held the GameStop version of the WBA featherweight title, and truthfully, the WBA should have just upgraded him since the real champion LSC has not defended that shit in about 2.5 years.
Yeah, because he's fighting guys like Tank.
And getting knocked the fuck out.
Hey, I mean, gotta take the fights.
Yeah, I mean, I know I gave a lot of shit. I wanted Pacquiao to get stripped for the inactivity. Fucking, this is even worse. Like, take that belt away from him.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, he was the 130 champion too, and that was the belt I think Tank took away or whatever. But it's like, he's not, make him defend the belt or strip him, and like Zhu Shan, like originally, because they were trying to make Zhu Shan and Warrington fight, and then Warrington, once that fight, they wouldn't let him do the unification and do the upgrade. Warrington gave up his belt and subsequently got his ass handed to him, on some karma shit. So Zhu Shan
got the karma L's, really. Like, if you think about it, like, and that's the saddest thing in boxing, when big fights can happen and then guys lose to unheralded, fighters, and they lose badly.
Yeah, they lose bad. Like, Warrington didn't have no one's like Warrington.
That was upset of the year, really. Shit.
Yeah, I mean, dude got broken, got his face broken, bloodied up. Dude got some serious. Yeah, dropped a couple times. Dude got some serious injuries, and he's running it back too in the next month. So
fuck that. You know what? I'm glad he's running it back because it was a good fight. It's not like he got destroyed. Like, he gave as good as he could take until he couldn't take no more. So I give him props for running that back. Just like, I give props to Joshua for running it back Ruiz. You're not supposed to lose to that caliber of fighter. Run that motherfucker back. And so shout out to Warrington for at least doing that.
Right.
It remains to be seen if he'll win or not, but I credit him for running it back.
Right, yeah, and also it just seemed like monkey see, monkey do. Warrington, who's a top level volume puncher, just got destroyed by a real puncher. And then deja vu. We have Zhu Shan, who is his biggest attribute. He is a monster volume puncher. Like, dude, his signature win, like against Jesus Rojas. I mean, first of all, that was an actual war, and this is what made me raise an eyebrow, like how he lost to Wood so bad. It's a war he won. And like he landed like 1,300, 1,400 punches in that not landed because that would be murder in that fight. And then he follows it up by breaking the
we
record.
call that James Kirkland.
Yeah, yeah.
Glenn versus Glenn Tapia. That's what we call that.
Yeah, that would be straight up murder. But he threw, which is incredible. And then he tops that by breaking the featherweight punch record against Manny Robles III, like throwing almost 1,600 or 1,700 punches in a fight, which is incredible. So that's where people are like, okay, yeah, because dude will eat you up with his work rate. Like, if you let him get into a groove, he'll start fucking you up. This is work rate alone. You won't. It's hard to get off. And that's why it was just so crazy that against Leigh Wood, obviously, me and LB were talking about this shit like before the fight, like, we were going back for it. I'm like, oh yeah, Zhu Shan's gonna go over him with his work rate. It's just gonna be a one-sided fight. And then LB's talking about, nah, nigga, this dude can punch. Like, Zhu Shan's getting knocked out. And I'm like, oh, we'll see. So yeah, imagine
but his work rate, he be throwing 1,000 punches. Man, fuck all that shit. I said he was gonna get his ass whooped. He got his ass whooped and knocked out.
Yeah, no, and like I said, the odds were pretty high. So it's like for LB to actually say that to me, I was like, yeah, whatever, nigga. So
like I don't know why it's like it got dismissed, because it's like it's not like I haven't gotten upsets before this year. Like, I've been getting a good amount. Not everyone, but I've been getting a damn good amount of upsets called.
But it was just this one because it's just like, Zhu Shan. I mean, because obviously I think Zhu Shan, he was probably looking forward to probably getting another bigger fight. And, Oscar probably had plans for him at some point because, Zhu Shan is a Golden Boy fighter. And even Golden Boy has been losing their legit world champion. So they only have now their string of GameStop champions. So
And Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, Ryan Garcia. And
whenever that happens, it happened.
Right.
Maybe he'll fight JoJo.
Yeah. So LB, man. So since you did call this behind the scenes, man, tell us what you thought about Zhu Shan and Leigh Wood.
Yeah. Well, I told these gentlemen in the Ring Gang chat on Twitter that Leigh Wood would beat the shit out of Zhu Can, and Zhu Can's been overrated. And I believe I spoke to the young King P on the phone as well and relayed that message, as well as my cohort Pat Scorpio. Yes, and the exact words was Leigh Wood would beat his ass, and yes, stoppage was preferable, but yeah, real talk. The reason why I felt like this was going to be an upset, it had all the ingredients. First of all, Zhu Can's inactivity.
Right.
It's almost been 2 years he in box, and he's a volume guy. A volume guy has to get into some rhythm to get going. So the worst thing I thought was going to happen against Leigh Wood is Zhu Can would get in his groove in the second half, but I still felt he was going to lose because Leigh Wood, his record doesn't indicate that he is some type of big puncher, but he's a hard puncher. And I always tell people, like, you don't have to be a big puncher to hurt people or stop people. It's more temperament than anything. It's more strategy than anything. All you have to do is just punch hard enough and get you some type of diplomatic leverage within the ring, and you can hurt people and score knockouts.
You absolutely right. You absolutely right on that.
And Leigh Wood punches hard. He has sound boxing skills, mixes up his shots, and he had a great strategy. He's hungry. He's been on a little winning streak. So not only that, he's been more active. And the cherry on top is he had Ben Davison in this corner, which that kind of just sealed it for me. Like, okay, like Ben Davis in the corner as well. Like, yeah, he's gonna beat this guy's ass. So
yeah,
it was easy for me to see that.
Yeah, Ben Davison might be a candidate, for trainer of the year. The way, I mean, he might not be depending on, who wins what in the other bigger fights though. But he's definitely a candidate so far because he took an
underdog and had one of the best shutout complete performances of the year as an upset.
Yeah, of a top guy in his division,
It's one thing to train the more talented guy or the favorite or the better fighter. It's another thing to train the underdog and have to make a statement. And boy, what a statement he made. Leigh Wood boxed this guy, undressed him up and down. Perfect strategy. He kept a hard jab, a hard, steady jab.
Yeah, that was the first thing. He established his jab early, and Zhu Shan. And this is the thing that kills me about some of these fighters today. Is like, what is it about getting hit with constant jabs that these niggas don't know how to make adjustments about? Like, this is. I was like, why are you getting hit with this jab? And that jab was hard enough. And Zhu Shan, I've seen this motherfucker get hit by Rojas a lot harder than Wood, but this motherfucker was not dissuaded. Like, that jab alone kept them
That's where the inactivity comes in. It's more factors. Like, it was a bad style matchup, but Leigh Wood had a lot of intangibles in his favor.
Yeah, like he was switching
hard
stances
enough too. Like,
he was switching stances, switching angles.
Early.
Yeah, basically he kept Zhu second guessing, and in doing so, his work, the work rate, which was his trademark, it was non-existent. And like I said, combine that with the fact that he was out for almost 2 years, so his cardio might not, the ring rust cardio might not actually have been. He might have not had the motor to do his actual style.
He tamed him. Look, that jab, that spear jab to the body early in a fight.
Yeah,
you don't want somebody to be landing that 3 and 4 times within the first 2 rounds.
Hell no.
And Leigh Wood was targeting that shit. And the thing is, once he was doing that, he was pushing Zhu Can back with the hard jab.
Yes.
Then he was able to place body shots left and right on dude. That could slow you down. And on top of it off, he wasn't on some, well, I'll pick it up later. He was landing big shots to the head early.
Right. And the
Like,
funny thing,
there was one punch where it sounded off. I was like, God damn, like, wow.
yeah, and then Zushan, like, I mean, the funny thing is he tried to go to Wood's body too. So I mean, he had his moments in like the middle of the fight where he would actually try to, but this is where also Zushan's lack of power came in. Like, Zu only has 3 knockouts to his name, like in his fights, like in 17 fights or whatever. Like he doesn't, he's not a big puncher. Like, the 3 knockouts that he got, like, they're like volume accumulation. So when Wood obviously although Wood had some, he did show slight discomfort from the body shot, but once he made an adjustment to that, yeah, it was a wrap. Like,
he styled on him. He even, and I know some people want to say the southpaw threw him off. Dude was already, the fight was won before he even started switching stances. That was just some Eric Morales shit that they were just like, you know what? Now I'm tired of beating your ass with the right. Let me beat your ass with the left.
Yeah, like I said, the jab was the first thing that threw him off. Like, this is a lesson. Like, if you establish a good jab, you win the fight. He
was winning rounds easy. Like, honestly, like, I like Andy Lee as a fighter, but his scorecards, like, man, it took like maybe 6 rounds before I was even thinking of giving Zucan a round. Like, he was getting shut down, like, clean early.
Yeah, like any of the rounds that Zushan won is probably like in the middle rounds, and like you can give him probably no more than 3 at the
3 tops. Like, honestly, I felt like he just had maybe 2 rounds, because a lot of times when he had a good little hustle, Leigh Wood will go right back to controlling the ring and popping the jab, and then he hurt him with an uppercut. Like,
yeah,
it was uppercut fucking season on this guy. Like,
yes, sir. Uppercut season always lives. Uppercut season never dies. Just remember that.
And yo, like, if y'all follow the God on Twitter, Soul Boy Shuttleworth, I had a tweet where I said Leigh Wood looked like what everybody expected Jermell Charlo to look like against Castaño.
Yes.
Who I picked Castaño to win that fight too, So, and the thing about it was Leigh Wood is the same size as Zucan, so he didn't even have none of the height advantage.
Right.
Exactly. It's not like people known him as a puncher. Nobody was saying that. This is the thing. We didn't get a chance to do a poll, the Twitter poll for Leigh Wood, Zucan. But there's nobody out there was fucking picking Leigh Wood like that to damn win this fight. People in his camp, and that's about it.
Yeah, because especially because that fight was only made like I think it was like a 5-week turnaround or some shit like that. It wasn't like they had a full training camp for that shit. Like it was just, it's like 5 weeks. Yeah, you're gonna be on this co-main, and that was probably a blessing for Leigh Wood and for Zucan. Although it was good that he got to fight. It was one of those things that he probably needed a full camp, to be honest.
Yeah. But then you the champ. You gotta do what it do sometimes, and this Leigh Wood just put on one of the best performances of the year. Credit to him. Great fight. That's how you fucking take a championship. That's how you outbox somebody and you don't make it fucking boring and put everybody to sleep. You put your fucking opponent to sleep.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to see. So I was impressed, and shout outs for him, doing it up. Like he took the spotlight for the weekend to me.
Yeah, and
not as much as what's his name, who we gonna get into.
Yeah, no,
because heavyweights always reign supreme.
Yeah, no, and when it went to the 12th round for Zoo and Wood, I was like, oh god, like I was hoping, I was like, please, I didn't want LB to be right, and then all of a sudden when Wood dropped this dude, I was like, fuck, he's done, like he sat him down, like Zushan, he got up and he clearly was not, he was finished. I was like, damn it, if Wood this one, like, shit is gonna be a wrap.
Because I knew in the 11th round, I was like, yeah, he could knock this guy out. Like, he could definitely, and Leigh Wood seized the moment. He started piling up punches. See, that's how you close out a show. I'm tired of dudes, they just gonna, get on the back foot and jab and hold or whatever. And well, yeah, I wasn't really trying to knock him out. Like, nah, shut the fuck up. Like, that's how you take out somebody.
Right. So big ups to LB for calling that shit, and big ups to Leigh Wood. He got himself a GameStop belt, and Zushan clearly probably either needs to, he needs to probably rework some shit in this camp, because I still think he could be something in the featherweight division. Like, But yeah, he's got to work. And then Leigh Wood though. So Eddie Hearn was already talking that, yeah, well, we're trying to get him to fight with Navarrete and shit like that. Like, yo, you need to calm down, bro. Like, Navarrete.
Whoa, that's a good fucking fight.
It's a good fight, but it's not a fight. I don't think Wood's not going to win that fight.
Shit, you didn't think Wood would win this fight?
Yeah, no, Navarrete. I mean, that one. I mean, that's different. But Navarrete, he's not going to beat Navarrete. I don't see that.
Can we stop telling fighters what they're not going to do?
I mean, Ben Davison, not whatever. Like in his corner, you're like, damn that. Like Navarrete, he's not going to beat Navarrete.
Honest to God, there's a strategy for every fighter in this world. It's all about utilizing. If you got the tools, because I look at it like this. The reason sometimes I could call shit, I look at a fight where I'm like, damn, if I was fighting this dude, this is what I would do. And then from that point, I say, okay, it's not me in there, of course, but does he have the attributes to make the strategy I would use work? And then I look at it like, okay, he does. Then I look at the opponent like, okay. Then you make the decision. Like, Navarrete would, of course, be the fucking favorite. But Leigh Wood is in there. That's a live fucking dog.
I don't know. Navarrete's Mexican. You know how Mexican English fights be going.
I mean, true, but shit, man. Like, somebody got to stand up to them. Somebody got to fucking win they props, win they respect back.
Word. But
and let's not act like Josh Taylor ain't just have one of the best wins of the year too.
Yeah, that's also true. No, that's
so and
but he's different. He's different though. Josh Taylor is different.
Yeah, I mean Josh Taylor. His competition. As much as I don't like the dude, like he
supersedes the Mexican British cheat code.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is it black girl lost or shorty owe you for ice? Is it UK fighters are trash and they get mopped up by the Mexicans, or they be pulling up upsets and they could fucking win? And Josh Taylor was a favorite in that fight. Should have won by KO. They robbed me of that fucking prediction, you bastards. And the scorecards were crazy close. Like, I mean, come on. And they was trying to make Leigh Wood Zucan a fucking 115, 113 fight.
Yeah, no, that definitely.
Fuck out of here with that shit, man. I want to see that fight. Navarrete, Leigh Wood. That's a good ass damn fight. Navarrete's the favorite, of course. But, let's not act like he's unfucking beatable or some shit.
Yeah, I mean, Navarrete still has his one. He does have a loss on his record. I mean, he has an early loss on his record. So, I mean, but then, of course, that's an early loss. So, I mean, yeah, it remains to be seen.
And it'll be a true uppercut fight. I know that.
Oh, yeah, for damn sure.
It'll be uppercut extravaganza. It'll be uppercut season part 3 or some shit.
Fight. And yeah,
Navarrete easily got one of the best uppercuts in the game, and Leigh Wood definitely put himself up there.
Yeah, and then when that happens, you'll see that video right on our TikTok account, because uppercut season never dies. Just remember that, never.
Shout out to Carl Dargan.
Yeah, shout out to Carl Dargan. Yeah, and then just that's a good segue into the PBC card. Prior to the other upset happening, Carl Dargan, coming back from. Was it 2 years or something like that? Now, Carl Dargan was a great amateur. I mean, he was a great amateur back when U.S. amateur boxing was still something that was that was still a really big thing. It's a thing, but it's not as big as it was before.
It's trying to make a resurgence, but back then it was like it meant something.
Like if you followed boxing and you followed GP, like you knew who the top amateurs were, and he was one of them. He was trained by the late great brother Nazim Richardson, and basically his story was when he passed, he kind of lost his spirit for boxing, understandably, and then of course he was on, he was getting his reality TV on with Lil Mo, and who was his
wife? I don't even know if they still together.
I would doubt it because Lil Mo's kind of messy, but I don't want to get into all that all that other shit, but Carl Dargan clearly we just man, this dude is actually talented, what is he doing, so it was a surprise to me that he actually, because first of all he wasn't supposed to be a televised fight, but COVID kind of killed a lot of the fights on the PBC card, so he got bumped up to televised status, and he took advantage of that shit. Dude landed uppercut season highlight, which you can see on our TikTok,
Yes, sir.
So make sure you catch that, and definitely big ups to Dargan. So hopefully, I mean, he's like 30, he's in his mid 30s now, so hopefully he can at least make one good run, and try to become champion,
I definitely want to see it because Philly been having his moments, in recent years.
Right.
Swift, been up there. J-Rock had a good win with Hurd, so I like to see him put himself up there. The uppercut season he had last night, it's a good start. So
yeah, and it was textbook too. Blocked it. Yeah, he blocked the right with his left forearm and followed it with the right. That was textbook. I was like, that is
quality skills, man. Quality skills.
And that was beautiful too. I was clapping. I was like, yes, like finally we see some. I love seeing shit like that because he was slipping the punches, blocking smooth with his left arm, followed it with the right uppercut.
This is why we say defense is so fucking important because good defense open up those shots for you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So yeah, definitely shout out to Carl Duggan. Like, hopefully, like I said, hopefully we see him he was on a televised card, like in a televised fight, because he deserves it. So it'll bring us into the second upset of the night, which happened in that card, which was the main event. Michael Coffie, I think Polite Coffie versus Jonnie Rice, or Jonathan Rice if you want to call him. Now, we were debating doing the preview for that fight, but we didn't do it for two reasons. One, that if you saw Jonathan Rice's fight against Efe Ajagba, it was not a fight that we were all impressed by. In fact, it was one of the most horrible fights I've watched in quite some time.
Even I left it alone as far as upsets go, and
Yeah. Yeah, and it was one of those fights where, although Rice was able to survive and not really take any serious punishment from Ajagba, it was just like, he fought so negative. It was just like it was awful.
Yeah, it was one of those fight not to lose, but not fight to win. Right. It was a Kevin Johnson type of performance.
Yeah, it was. And then after that, on contrast, we had Coffie, who in his last fight out, he knocked out, in highlight fashion, like Darmani Rock, who clearly was not in any type of shape, and Darmani Rock was also another top amateur who unfortunately did
I'm trying to think, wasn't Darmani Rock the favorite in that fight too?
Hell yeah, he was.
I remember the odds being kind of close and him being a little ahead, so I was like, damn.
Yeah, and that's mostly because Darmani Rock, he was undefeated. Dude was a top amateur himself, but yeah, he did. But yeah, he came in there just so out of shape, and and then uppercut season hit his ass too in that fight.
Yeah,
yeah, it was crazy. Like, dude he came into that fight like 260, and he was fought as high as almost 300. Like, and this was like, and that's what made me. I was just like, I was not happy about that. For Rock, but Coffie though, he did what he had to do. And he was the guy with the less experience, so he was riding that wave into this fight, Yep. And the fun thing is too is Coffie was supposed to face Gerald Washington, and that's the reason why we didn't do a preview, because Gerald Washington shouldn't be fighting at all. Like he should be out, like he should be medically retired, but people don't.
God damn.
Yeah, no, but for whatever reason, Gerald Washington is like a favorite. Like if you want to pad your card with something, you put him in there with a heavyweight. So, but when
nobody was trying to see that fight, though. I'm sorry,
Yeah, but Washington ended up catching COVID, so Jonathan Rice was penciled in. So, and I thought it was a better fight, but I just didn't see it going the distance. I didn't see Rice winning. So I think but just watching that fight, like I knew fuckery was amiss when they showed these cats in their dressing room, and Rice had his wallet in his hand. Nigga had a whole bunch of ones when they were not, and he was throwing it like he was in a strip club. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
He knew. Look, see, that's confidence. Like he knew he was going to the after party right after that shit. He knew he was getting lit afterwards, and he didn't want to take all night either. So he got him the fuck out the paint.
Yeah, he did. Like, and that's the thing. It's like, and that's just what I always thought Coffie was. Was a decently skilled heavyweight. But he showed none of this shit in this fight. Like,
the skills just disappeared in these upsets, though. I ain't gonna lie. Like, motherfuckers just kind of took their beatings laying down.
I think him starting late definitely, showed obviously.
Yeah, no, either that or I think he was just like, man, I'm gonna knock Gerald Washington out and go about my business because I think he was really. I mean, but he wasn't ready for no Rice, and Rice is the same height or not the same height, same weight as him. And I don't know what he
They
thought.
was the same height too. There was some two big motherfuckers.
Right, but I don't know what Coffie was thinking that he can just absorb right hands, lead right hands, counter right hands,
Left
counter
hooks, hard jabs.
left hooks. Yeah, it was like dude was damn near landing heavy bad combinations on him, like, and then Coffie was doing nothing. He wasn't slipping the punches. Like he was going forward, he was squared up, like he wasn't going side to side, at least trying to make sure he wasn't getting hit. No, he was coming forward and he was swinging wildly. Like
He was honestly he was doing his best Zucan rendition. Really, let me see how much punishment I could take walking forward and not doing anything about it. Given though I'm a heavyweight as big as strong as this guy, and I was favored to win.
Yeah, and I think he was trying to either win for Rice to tire out or whatever. But you can't.
What the fuck kind of strategy is that?
And I know he had no strategy too because you saw him switch to Celtic, which is another thing that starts irritates me. If you're like switching to Celtic does not mean you're gonna always confuse your opponent. There are opponents that can actually adjust to that shit. Like if you're gonna switch to Saudi to your natural stance, then you gotta be able to do something. You gotta have a plan instead of just plodding forward and swinging wildly. That's the shit that was irritating.
And he got his ass up for his troubles because, man, we tell people this all the time. Look, it's heavyweights, man. You can't, like, honestly, in boxing, period, I don't care if you're fucking 105 pounds.
Word.
You can't let nobody just be teeing off and you having their way. But heavyweights, the price is way more to pay. Like Ring Gang really got some big ass niggas in here, and you don't want nobody that's damn 6'4", 6'5", 260, 270 landing fucking clean punches on you.
Absolutely, that's not. You can't do that. And it's heavy.
You don't need to be some fucking Mike Tyson or goddamn George Foreman to hurt somebody at heavyweight. Like I don't know why. It's just y'all probably the same people who be like, man, Tyson Fury can't punch. Yeah, let this motherfucker just throw fucking.
Yeah,
leave that your ass for 5 rounds. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's like pretty much like some of the most punishing heavyweight fights in history. Like
came from non-punchers.
Right, in this case, if they are punchers, like I like to bring up, the Brewster Lykovich one. If heavyweights are throwing bombs for 12 rounds like that, that's how they get ruined. Heavyweights are different because there's so much weight behind the punches. If you let heavyweight tee up on you, the damage will come quick. Because it's not like they have to make weight. Like, I mean, they're not getting dehydrated and shit like that. But the damage is.
Rice was warmed up. Rice was ready. Like, I mean, he kind of reminds me of a heavyweight conventional Tarver.
Yeah, like, and he was.
Yeah,
and he
there's a little
was
slickness about him too.
Yeah, and he was so relaxed too. It was like he was nonchalantly beating that ass. Like it was just like in Coffie, all he did was plodding forward, and then finally like. And there was some fades. Like I know in the fourth round, fourth round, like Coffie was staggered. In the fifth round, it wasn't even a thing. Like dude was landing overhand rights and bombing this nigga's head all the way the fuck back to it's crazy. And the referee was looking at that shit. I'm like, dog, you can step in now. And then Rice lands like a right hand, and this dude's in the corner, and the referee's like, yo, can you fight? Shaking your head. And then Rice loads up another right hand and like nearly takes this nigga's head off. Like. And his eyes like shutting and shit like that. I'm just like, what the fuck? I was like, what the fuck
Rice
is going on?
Dude in the rice pudding, bro.
Yeah.
Beat his ass. Like honestly, like low key, we was presented mid this weekend, but we actually got quality mid. Like
yeah.
We were supposed to get Reggie, but somehow somebody put a few extra nuggets of something good in there. And it was like, like here you go. Like
would you say this
niggas are like that?
We say this loss was worse than when Kawanaki lost to Hellenius?
I mean, the Kanaki one was coming because Kanaki. I mean, this is what we're talking about. Heavyweights cannot be landing bombs on each other without having something happen. Like Kanaki and Ariel, they landed so many. Kanaki had like 300 something punches from Ariel, which is insane.
That was crazy.
Yeah, he got softened up in that fight, and that's what happened to. And Hellenius, although he's washed up himself, Hellenius has stones for fists. You can't let him hit you like that. So that's what happened.
Yeah, because Rice is more of a never was. That you could probably say. and Helenius was more of a has-been, but never a world-class has-been. I mean, fuck, I'm not even trying to sound rude or nothing. It's just
Yeah, and I know what you mean. Though. Like,
Kaunaki got stopped against the guy that got stopped by the guy that you stopped. Like, how that even work? Like, how that work?
oh shit! Yo, but damn, let's mention the Darrell fight real quick because I didn't realize we would be talking about these upsets so long.
Yeah, but then I did. Rice's celebration though when he was starting the Harlem Shake in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, that shit had me dying.
Yeah, that was funny as hell. Like I enjoyed that moment. Like shout out to that.
All I needed was the. That's all we needed. That's all we needed for that.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, that's one of the greatest parts about boxing when the underdog wins and they celebrate it and they happy and everybody's like, damn, we saw a good fucking performance. Like, that's what boxing's all about, man.
Right, Yeah, and then obviously, and his post-fight speech was also good too. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure now Al's gonna give him a spot somewhere, after that win. Like he deserves a good fight after that. So yeah, kudos to him.
Get that man paid.
Yeah, and then also, kudos to Andre Dirrell. He was making his 175 debut, and he was the last fight on the televised card, against Christopher Brooker, and pretty much at least Andre Dirrell was always one of those cats that, I mean, I was a fan. I'm a fan of both Dirrells, but it was what Andre Dirrell was like baffling to see how he never captured a belt, like a legitimate belt. Although he was robbed of one occasion, but we won't get into that one.
Abraham.
Frotch.
oh yeah. What am I thinking?
Well, no, Abraham beat Abraham.
He was robbed of his damn of his fucking career in that fight.
Yeah, it's just crazy because I look back at it and I think like I always thought Andre would have the career that the other Andre had.
Same here. Cause I was not a big fan. I thought Andre would wash out. Like I wasn't. I mean, and I was jaded on the American on the U.S. amateur scene by the time Ward won his gold medal.
Because Dirrell looked so promising. He had everything you wanted. He had defense, hand speed, power, quickness, movement, agility. Like if he checked off all the boxes. Like Ward didn't really. I didn't really take Ward serious until he beat Kessler because I was high on Kessler. He kind of skunked Kessler. That's when I was like, okay, once he beat Kessler, he gonna win this whole damn tournament.
Yeah, same. Like, yeah, that's what Ward took it. And then Dirrell, unfortunately, like I said, the Frotch fight, yeah, he did his thing and he got robbed in Nottingham. And then the Abraham shit, like he beat Abraham's ass worse than probably all but maybe one of his opponents. Like, he beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
But he got jobbed in Nottingham, and then the Abraham fight, unfortunately, that's the beginning of the end, because he got the concussions, and then he was signed to 50 for a minute, so 50s, wasn't having him fight like that, and then he had the DeGale fight, and I was there.
He was trying to get those Billy Dib fights that everybody wanted to see.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait a minute, LB. Did you say you didn't take Ward seriously until the Kessler fight?
Yeah, same here. Like I thought Ward.
Yeah, really. What the fuck? Who the fuck was he beating like that before the Kessler?
I don't know. Like I started liking him like right around the Miranda fight. I feel like that's when I started actually like really liking him. I'm like, actually,
Miranda was a good test, but he wasn't the damn. Look, I mean, are we really gonna compare Kessler and fucking Miranda? Really?
No. I'm just saying. Like I was like. I see why we think so differently of Ward because we have different opinions on when you started was like I was high on him already like when the Miranda fight happened, so like I already like was a fan of him and actually like almost like kind of picked him in the Super 6.
I mean, this is the thing, dude switched up his style. Like he went from like a Roy Jones pot shotter to like a hybrid Hopkins thinking man's fighter, and I felt like you couldn't even really see his talent like you used to the way he switched it up, but he was still good. Miranda was a good test. Miranda hit him a few good times, won a couple rounds, gave him a good fight, but it wasn't enough for me to say like, okay, he's the goods. When he fucking beat Kessler, that was it. Like who was doing that to Kessler at the time?
Nobody.
Even Kawasaki was damn. Kessler took rounds off prime Kawasaki, like uppercut the shit out of dude and everything, like.
Yeah, and Frost,
that fight was impressive. I remember writing in the Doug Fisher about that fight and was saying, because everybody was still up in arms about who was going to win it, and after he had after Ward beat Kessler, I was like, man, he's going to win it. He's going to win the rest of the thing. I'm trying to remember if I could bring that email back up, but I think he responded with some shit that he still was picking. I think Abraham or Froch to win it all.
Right, and Abraham
was regarded too back then.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I can't remember my thoughts on that was so long ago. But I'm pretty sure. I think I'm pretty sure I thought either Ward or Froch would win. So
and I thought Durrell. My original pick was Andre Durrell.
Mm-hmm.
But after But after Ward beat Kessler, it was like, nah, it's a wrap. Like, no.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Andre Durrell, like, he kind of faded to black. And then, like I said, outside of the Gale fight, and then, and then, of course, the Uzkateki fights, which for us, like, it seemed like the end was near because he looked bad. He looked really bad and shaky in both fights, and so it's just like, I know. So for him to come back at light heavyweight, and he looked like he did in his prime, although Brooker didn't really put up much of a fight, but the shit that made Durrell such a prospect and maybe a champion, it was on display. He beat that dude's ass like Brooker had nothing for him. So
shout out to Durrell coming back and doing what he was supposed to do and not getting upset.
Right.
So we can be upset.
Right.
And make the damn upset portion even longer because we would have been like, man, would you believe this shit?
Right? Oh man, so the PBC card, it was mid on paper, but it was quality mid when it played out. And same thing with Eddie's Mandingo series. Like there was I think it was the main event ended up being pretty damn good. So
Vito Milanicki got a win on the PBC card.
Yeah.
Joey Spencer looked the best he ever did in his fucking career.
He did.
And beating Martin. And Vito's now like fuck it, I don't need Martin anymore.
He does. They're gonna
Yeah, I feel like they should still try to make that fight. Like, don't let just because you let another white person that fights just like you beat your op.
Nah, you gotta get that win back. Yeah, Joey Spencer for once.
Yeah, if Martin would have got knocked out, then I could feel like Vito could have said that, but he lost a decision, bro. Like,
yeah, he did.
Both y'all still in your prime. Like, yo,
yeah, make that goddamn.
You better fight somebody better than Martin next, then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you gonna fight Joey Spencer? Keep that shit. I mean, but y'all, I'm good, man. Y'all can get in the previews, man. Take your pick. I know we got some Regal fanboys in here, so
yeah, we just.